Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking an absolutely incredible, dense piece of musical storytelling. We're looking at a 1970s-inspired crime rock narrative called The Last Exit North. Imagine the gritty, pedal-to-the-metal atmosphere of classic detective films, like Bullet or Shaft. But beneath the roaring cinematic engines, there's actually a super complex story going on here. It's all about escape, conformity, and that intense friction between physical limitations and boundless ideas.
The track literally jumps straight into the action with this phenomenal opening hook. Border 40 miles ahead, freedom 20 years behind. In just 10 words, right out of the gate, we immediately get this high-stakes thriller vibe. We've got a physical destination exactly 40 miles away, which is instantly contrasted with a pretty devastating measurement of time, freedom lost 2 whole decades ago. So this isn't just a getaway, right? It's a desperate attempt to outrun the past.
Okay, let's dive into this with Act 1, the Retro Highway Chase.
To really grasp the momentum here, let's map out how this chase progresses right from the very first verse. Earlier in the drive, 45 minutes ago, our protagonist is moving through total decay. We're talking rusted farmland, silent towns, faded signs, basically a world left behind. But then, the energy shifts violently. Just 10 minutes ago, the rearview mirror lights up with flashing red and blue beacons. The authorities are aggressively closing in. And now, at 0 minutes, the border checkpoint finally appears through the pouring rain. The law is right on their tail. The border is so close, but time is absolutely running out.
Which naturally brings us to a huge question. What exactly did this person do to warrant flashing lights and a desperate high-speed run for the border?
Well, the pre-chorus reveals their true offense, and spoiler alert, it's not robbery, and it's not violence. The lyrics say, "They called me a heretic, not because I lied, but because I asked why." In the context of this world, thinking for yourself and questioning the status quo is quite literally the ultimate crime.
Moving right along into Act 2, Anatomy of a Dystopia. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we see things actually got this bad. The lyrics brilliantly and very impartially construct a society where freedom vanished completely unnoticed. We aren't looking at some violent overnight coup. Instead, conformity simply became a virtue and silence turned into something to be genuinely proud of. The screens just kept glowing, the votes kept coming, and the promises were sweet and small. It paints a vivid picture of a society that essentially traded its freedom for comfort and distraction. This kind of quiet surrender is perfectly captured in the next pre-chorus. Nobody burned the books. They simply stopped printing them. I mean, wow. It's a chilling reframing of censorship. Notice how there are no dramatic, fiery bonfires here. It's just a quiet, voluntary erasure of ideas that fades away because the populace just lost the desire to read or challenge anything. The song's bridge really drives this home with a super powerful metaphor. The best prisons don't need walls. People build them willingly and decorate the halls. It makes a profound, albeit totally neutral, ideological point about human complacency. True captivity, according to the text, isn't always enforced by armed guards from the outside. Quite often, it's actively constructed and maintained by the people living right inside it, simply because it feels safe.
And that brings us to Act 3, the border checkpoint climax.
The narrative snaps us right back to the present moment. Tension is high. The border signs appear like ghosts emerging through the rain. And for one brief, agonizing second, the driver can almost feel the weight falling away. It's incredibly cinematic. You can almost feel the physical exhale of relief. But it is violently crushed. The road suddenly closes in, orders are shouted, steel fills the night, and every single dream vanishes in flashing white lights. The physical escape has officially failed. And then, the music hits a jarring halt. The roaring retro rock drive we've been listening to is entirely replaced by a stark breakdown. Just sterile, intrusive interrogation questions. Name, occupation, political affiliation, reason for departure, reason for thought. That final question right there, reason for thought, completely reinforces everything we just learned about this world. Thinking itself is the anomaly that the system has to process and eliminate.
So the crucial point is how this wraps up in the aftermath, an unstoppable idea.
What actually happens when the physical journey ends? Well, the song brilliantly contrasts two completely distinct outcomes for us. First, you have the physical defeat, the engine dies, the sirens stay, and the border remains just beyond reach. The car is stopped, and the man is definitively captured. But matched right against this is an undeniable ideological victory. The final chorus loudly proclaims you can stop a car, you can stop a man, but good luck stopping an idea. As our protagonist is detained, the wind carries a single erased word northward over the border: freedom. It proves that an idea, once out there, really cannot be stopped.
Which leaves us with a final, really fascinating thought. Did the protagonist actually fail, or does the survival of the idea of freedom constitute a true victory? It definitely makes you wonder why storytellers so often use physical borders to represent ideological survival. Even when the body is totally trapped by steel and flashing lights, can a state of mind truly cross the line? It's an amazing narrative to unpack. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep asking why.